Good evening. We are live. I am your host, R.J. Carter, author of the Destroyer novels Bully Pulpit, Continental Divide, and the most recent one, Monumental Terror. We're here just chilling out tonight. I'm going to have to come up with a name for the drinks. I know Dr. Pepper already has the trademark on it, but that's okay. I mean, like the Tug Glug. The Tug has... I don't know. Find something that rhymes or alliterates with blast. Something not too old. I don't want to blast quaff or anything like that. Just something to keep the mouth wet. So we got stuff happening. It's the 25th of January. We got 6 more days left in the month, and that means we have 6 more days left to do our annual best of poll. The link for that is in the description, right down there. Just see that link. Click that link. That link will take you to criticalblast.com, and you'll be presented with the polling questions. We're looking for the best film of 2019, the best television show of 2019, the best actor in both categories, and we're also looking for the best comic storyline, the best comic book writer, and the best comic book artist. And let me tell you right now, we've got lots of entries in this thing, and all 3 of those categories are a horse race. I have never seen anything quite like it in the 5 years we've been running this in our system. Usually there's a clear front runner and then some also-rans. I can't give the results right now because I don't want to skew them to anybody, but it's close. I mean, every time one person makes a vote, it changes who's in the lead. It's that close. We also have, of course, on that same poll, our bombshell of the year. So that's our cosplay poll, where every month we have the bombshell of the month. We'll have a new one coming up in February. And then at the end of the year, all 12 of those are put into the poll to see who's going to be the bombshell of the year for that particular year. This year we did not have a bombshell in May because we were moving headquarters, and we weren't able to get to it. Weren't able to get somebody interviewed and get their pictures done. So we only had 11 contestants this year, but definitely check that out. We put the pictures of their cosplay up, and by all means, check out the site, find their profiles. There'll be more pictures in each of their profiles if you are stuck on who you want to vote for. So you'll be able to read a little bit more about them and see a little bit more of their cosplay. Also, next week at 4 o'clock Central Time, we will be at Cosmic Comics with Dave Dyer, and we will be interviewing indie comics writer Henry Vogel. Now, if you're not familiar with Henry Vogel, if you are at least as old as me, God help you if you are, you might have seen some of his comic books that were done in the 80s and early 90s, including the Aristocratic Extraterrestrial Time-Traveling Thieves. This was a series that was published by Comics Interview, and the art in this one was done by Mark Probst. So you probably know that name because he's still out and doing great stuff. He did this cover. So this is some vintage. Get that as close as I can. This is some vintage Mark Probst going on here. This is some good stuff. And then what else Mr. Vogel is known for is a series called Southern Knights. This was the #1 super team of the South self-build. Now, this is one of the earliest issues. It's self-published by the Guild. Afterwards, the series did move on to being published by Comics Interview. I've got a decent-sized run of them going here. I've been trying to hit up all the back issue places I could find. Earliest one I've got is #3. This one does say #1, and it does seem to be the issue where they're given a team name, but I don't think it's really the first issue. This is their Halloween special. So it's now this one's nice. This is some black and white artwork here. Henry wrote this one in cooperation with his wife Audrey. Now, this I'll let you take a peek at some of the artwork in here. It's good stuff. Very good stuff of black and white. You know why? You know who that artist is? That's Butch Guice. Yeah. Henry was working with some great artists who were just coming into their own back then. Michael Morrison on pencils on this one. Let's see who's penciler on this one. Chuck Wachowicz. Sorry, I'm butchering that name. I realize that, but I don't get them all. Some of them didn't become quite as known as others, but see if I can find an artist name on this one. Mark Probst did the art in this one. This is an open stream too, by the way. Got some really good Mark Probst in this one. Sweet stuff. Anybody who comes in and decides that they want to join us is more than welcome to. I'll give the link to it in a private chat. This was done by Willie Peppers, who I'm not familiar with. But the one thing that I will say about the artwork that was done in all the different Southern Nights is that it was consistent. When they got a different penciler, you couldn't really tell that there was a huge difference. Which I think was great. I think he probably had different pencilers doing different issues so that he could consistently put it out on time, because if an artist is going to take a while, well, let another artist do the next one. And that way you have two people working with similar styles on your book and you get them all out in time. Anyway, we're going to be talking with Henry Vogel next Sunday at 4 o'clock Central Time. It will be live. Dave Dyer will be with us. I'm trying to see if I can't get someone else to sit in with us to do the interview side of the thing. Trying to get sci-fi author Van Allen Plexico to possibly sit in on that one. He's an expert in the space opera field, and the reason I would like him there is that Mr. Vogel has moved on from doing comics and is now doing space opera novels. He's got several of them to his credit, and we're going to be talking about some of those, plus his newest ones. And if at all possible, I would really like support from the Indiegogo community to be on hand to help me convince Mr. Vogel that maybe the environment is right to bring back the Southern Nights in a crowdfunded comic book, or even release it at least in an omnibus, maybe even get it colorized. I think that would look fantastic to have some of this original Mark Probst and some of the other artists get their work colored and just put out in one big omnibus volume. I think I don't know how many volumes there were. I know that the highest volume I've got is at least 36. So at least they're number 36. And I don't think this was the last one either. So maybe a couple of volumes. I know he has them all still on PDF files. So that would be fantastic if we could get him to republish that, get some sort of an Indiegogo going. Henry Vogel is one of the original, what we call, the Comicsgate crowdfund people right now. He was doing it back when you didn't get to have several hundred people chunk in some money and make 100,000 off of it. He was putting his own money into it and praying to God he sold enough to cover his losses. Which apparently he did, because he put out several issues. Either that, or he just really, really had a love for it and continued to put money into it. Comics this week. All right. So we already have one review up at Critical Blast for the books we picked up this week. And I'll go ahead and start talking about some of those. The new one that I have is Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen, #2. This is Lois Lane. It's the other LL guy who's prominent in Superman's life, Lex Luthor. versus the Infected. It's not really a team name, but the Infected are the heroes that the Batman Who Laughs has infected. It's kind of obvious in the name. He's turned Blue Beetle into Scarab. He's turned Supergirl into Kara Zor-El. Kind of thought that was her name anyway. He's turned Shazam into King Shazam. Did he give him a country or something? Kind of light on the naming here, whoever was responsible for infecting these guys. Deathbringer used to be Donna Troy, and Sky Tyrant was formerly Hawkman. By the way, they've infected Jim Gordon too. Jim Gordon is now known as Jim Gordon. Anyhow, Lex Luthor is working for the goddess who created the DC universe. I think her name is Perpetua. She wants to do bad things. The Batman Who Laughs has infected these heroes. He wants to do bad things. Their bad things conflict. So Luthor's out to stop him. So you basically got the smartest man in the world versus the Batman of another world, who should at least be as smart as this one. Luthor definitely is outnumbered and manages to kick all their butts because he outplanned all of them while they were posting about what they were going to do. Now, granted, Luthor is also super evolved by Perpetua. She's made him kind of white Martian-y. So he's got abilities now as well as his own mental faculties. There's a good scene in here where he's walking away from the beaten down hero villains, and Supergirl is telling him all about how Superman actually secretly admires him and knows that he could help the world if he would just let go of his ego. He doesn't care. Meanwhile, we find out that the Batman Who Laughs is using those guys to keep Luthor busy so that he can interrogate his own guy. And for those who don't care about spoilers, because I don't really care, he's got the Phantom Stranger in a cage. Apparently he had to cage the Spectre on his home Earth. So caging the Phantom Stranger is not a problem. Anyway, Luthor's trying to find out what's in their blood that infected them, and so that he can create a cure. But all the blood he got from these guys was polluted because Kara's had kryptonite in it, Shazam's had magic in it. He's going to go try and get some blood from Jim Gordon. Jim Gordon's in a cell at Hall of Justice. And after he gets in, lo and behold, well, look at that. All the Justice Leaguers have been infected with this, at least the Justice Leaguers on hand, which pretty much looks like it's the C team because it's Beast Boy, Hawk and Dove, Dr. Light. Yeah, there's nobody important. But still a good issue. A lot of action, moved the plot forward. My God, it's been forever since I've seen something actually do that with all the Justice Doom War, all the metal, all the Year of the Villain. Something happened and it took us somewhere else. That's all I want from a comic book, is forward motion. Was happy to find this one. I don't know if it was new this week in stores because I know it was supposed to come out at Walmart first. I never could find it at Walmart. And my Walmart does have the 100-page book, so not being able to find it was kind of weird. Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is the tie-in to the CW show. And this was good. This had two stories that go into the Crisis. The first one is stuff that you didn't even know was happening on the show. This was Pariah, who is Nash Wells, being sent on a mission with a handful of the heroes to find not the Anti-Monitor, but Outcast with a K, because it's cool. Outcast being Pariah's antimatter brother. And the reason they're after him is because he apparently knows who the Paragons are. And then he tells him that that's a great big, huge, whopping lie that the Anti-Monitor concocted to keep them all busy. We start out on Earth N52, which looks like it's the new 52 Earth. So the new 52 Earth was wiped out in the TV Crisis. We also go to Earth F, which I thought was nice. Earth F looks to be Earth Fleischer. So he's on a cartoon Earth, which is kind of weird, but kind of worked too. They go to Earth X. Don't save it. They're just in time to get the Ray out of there because we haven't seen the Ray in a long time, and we keep him involved in the universe. We also have Kid Flash. Wally West is there, and Felicity, who did not show up in Arrow or Crisis in any capacity other than to say she did something off the side. I can only think that Emily Bett Rickards had some sort of contractual falling out. I have no basis, in fact, to say that. I'm just saying that if a character is not showing up on screen and they're doing things off screen, and especially if you've got Oliver Queen running all over the Earth doing the anti-monitors or doing the monitors bidding, and it's a secret, but he can get in Diggle and he can get in Lila and he can get in Wild Dog and he can bring in everybody else, but can't make a phone call to Felicity, his wife, then there was more to it than just she didn't fit into the plot. She didn't fit into the show. Since they didn't need to get her permission to use her likeness in the comic, because they already had it, they just used her there. This is, we end up losing Kid Flash in this one. We start to see them interact with characters that we don't get to see on the show, like different Green Lanterns, different Supermans. And then we kind of end that one with a to be continued. So this is going to be a two-parter. And then we go do a different Crisis story. We start off on Earth 1938. Okay, we get it. Every Earth is a year. Where there's a Luthor in prison. He's breaking out. He's killing guards. And the Luthor that we know on the television show, which is we're on the Wave Rider of Earth 74. I don't know what happened in 74. I don't know how we got that Wave Rider, but okay. Lex Luthor is in his little energy cell playing chess with Lila, apparently. And another Luthor shows up and breaks him out. Of course, he said he was all ready to break out whenever he wanted. He just didn't want to yet. He didn't need to one time. He's taken to place out of time where there is the cabal of Luthors. There we can see my favorite Luthor, the one with the power suit, the green and purple power suit from the 80s. We got a gold suited one there. We have all kinds of different Luthors. We've got the one that's got hair. And it looks to me like the one who rescued him is the Kevin Spacey one or the Gene Hackman one without the toupee on, because he's dressed up with the suit and the kind of an air about him like they had in the films. They want all the Luthors together to take advantage of the Crisis. He's told them, yeah, no, don't need you guys. You're all dumber than me. He jumps out to Earth 38, Fortress of Solitude, gets Superman involved, gets pulled back through a hole, and before Superman can go after him, because they threw some sort of device at him that he had to wrestle his way out of, he is approached by a whole squadron of Supermans. And that's where that one is to be continued with the next Crisis crossover. So Crisis is over, but we still got to wait for the next comic book to figure out all the story that went with it. This being a 100-pager, they filled in the rest of it with two very good issues of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they're all very good. We have number 1, and then we have, I forget which number it is, but it's the death of Supergirl is in here. That's interesting because they end with the issue 1 on this, and that Monitor introduces himself, and then it says, to be continued in the Crisis on Infinite Earths graphic novel. No, just going to be continued in issue number 2. I don't know what graphic novel they're planning to do. Crisis has been released in trade paperback for years now. The other one that I picked up, the last one I picked up, I've been ignoring it because, NML, not my legion. But It featured Robin, and I didn't think I'd ever seen Robin pulled forward to meet with the Legion superheroes. Superboy got it all the time. Robin did not. This being the Jonathan Kent aged Superboy that was basically it's Brian Michael Bendis' FU to the entire fandom, but he's still trying to maintain this Superboy Robin relationship. Superboy has decided, hey, the Legion is so cool, I want my best friend to see them, and he brings Robin forward in time with a time machine. All this time, and of course, Robin is properly impressed with everything right before he starts to throw up from time travel and the new environment, the cleaner air, all that good stuff. Apparently, there's no clean air in our environment now. While this is going on, a squad of the Legion is on Rimbor. They are trying to, make peace with the warlord there, who also happens to be Ultra Boy's father. He causes troubles. They beat him up, which means that they're really in trouble now, because if you've beaten the warlord, you're now the new ruler of Rimbor, and they don't want to be. In addition to that, another squad is on Gotham, planet Gotham. Gotham has gotten so big, it has got its own planet now, and it's a prison planet like Takran Galtos. Yes, I know my Legion. Proud of myself. They have Mordru there. They're trying to figure out what happened to Aquaman's trident, the one they stole from the guy on Rimbor, and now it's been stolen from them. Saturn Girl's basically trying to read Mordru's mind and get into his head, but it's not working. He's rejecting them out, and they get called back to Legion headquarters before that, because Jonah's dad is wreaking havoc and wiping the floor with them all. And that's when Saturn Girl sees, oh my God, Robin is here. Is that the Damian Wayne Robin? And Superboy's, yeah, isn't it cool? This is my friend. And she's looking at Robin and thinking, you were never here. I was never here. You're asleep. This is a crazy dream. So basically, they're afraid of him, because they're afraid of what he grows up to become. So we're throwing that whole Batman 666 thing out there again, I guess. I don't know what he becomes. Somebody refers to him as Baby Hitler, and one of the other Legionnaires says, well, that's kind of unfair. He wasn't anywhere near as bad as that. So now we've got to worry. We got this little subplot floating out there. Don't worry, nothing will ever happen to it. It's a Bendis subplot, where Robin may go evil in the near future. Last time I did a live stream, I was challenged to do a 10-minute video every night, and I failed because I missed a day. So sorry about that, but I've been trying to do some look backs at some older graphic novels and give some perspective on those, my own opinion on them. If you go back, you'll see we did some reviews on the Afterlife with Archie first graphic novel collection. I reached way, way back and did some Camelot 3000, which takes us back to the beginning of the direct market for comics and the first time they were printing on Baxter paper. That was the big deal then. We're printing on Baxter paper. And also we did one on, just did it last night, help me out here, Batman Digital Justice, which was the first computer-generated graphic novel. Bit of a misnomer. But be that as it may, it was very, very computery. But the guy did foresee exactly how much of an impact the internet would have on the world and how interconnected everything would be. So I'm planning some for next week, continue that pattern. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm really sort of leaning toward doing something on the 2 volumes of Batman Earth 1 because I really, really like this story. And this is, of course, Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, who did Doomsday Clock. And you can tell there's a lot of, they work well together. Batman Earth 1 is way better than Doomsday Clock was. probably because they have so much more freedom. I mean, you've got Doomsday Clock. You're locked in with some characters that have to be a certain way. With Batman Year One, you're totally reimagining everything with Batman in a real world setting. I have not yet seen whether or not all the Earth One books are set on the same Earth One. So I don't know if Superman Earth One is happening in the same setting, continuity, what have you, for Batman Earth One or Teen Titans Earth One, or Wonder Woman Earth One, or Green Lantern Earth One. Really got to catch up on all these things. I hope they've done a Batman Earth One Volume 3, because I'm gonna check Amazon right after this and see, because I really like it. I don't want to talk too much about it because, like I said, that may be my next video. Yeah, that will be my next video. Look for that Monday night, and then we'll make sure that we try to get at least one 10-minute video up every day, in perpetuity, except for the days we do live streams, which is like tonight. If there's anything that you think you'd like to see us take a crack at, leave us a comment, drop us a DM on Twitter at Critical Blast. We live to serve. We had somebody ask us our opinion on Dejah Thoris from Dynamite. So what do? We went out and got some books of Dejah Thoris and read the new issues and gave an opinion video on it. That's one of the 10-minute videos we did out there. So we listen, we respond. We want to provide you with the content you want. If you want to agree with us, great. If you want to argue with us, please. We're great at arguing, not so good at winning, but we'll argue. Please do click the link below, participate in our poll. This is not a Twitter poll. This is not a publishing poll saying, hey, who's the top 10 of this or that? These are real trophies. These are physical, glass, engraved, shipped to the winner trophies. We've been doing this for 5 years now for the best of everything. And it's been working out, rather well for us. Obviously, we're kind of hoping that whoever gets these things, like, if like 2 years ago, we had, maybe 3 years ago, Daisy Ridley won for Best Actor. Hey, it's fan driven. What can I say? I know Star Wars was kind of bigger then, and it kind of dipped down. This was when the new trilogy was just starting up and the hype was high. And we got a very nice thank you letter in email from Lucasfilms. So, it's nice to have that kind of reciprocation back. Obviously, we'd love it if somebody big got one of these things and just started going Instagram crazy with it. But, you just put it on a shelf, or if you never even open it, fine. We've done our part. We've let you know what our fans think. They think you're the best of this particular category for this year. But please do participate in that. If you would like to help the site out, obviously subscribe. We would love to have you guys come back for more content. And to be honest with you, it's a little bit more lively if I've got somebody to interact with, instead of just talking to a blank screen here without a script. Fortunately for you guys, I actually do try to come up with some kind of a script whenever I'm working that out. And, I don't know where I put it. That's not good. In addition to subscribing, if you just visit criticalblast.com on a regular basis, that will just tickle our hearts to no end. And if you're somebody who's into merchandise, the links below take you to our t-shirt store at TeePublic, and also to our Amazon links, where you can find Gods and Services, our urban fantasy anthology series about people who encounter old gods in need of work. You can also find a link to our first young adult superhero novel, Bulletproof, by Stephen J. Mitchell, which is what I was turning around to try to grab off the shelf, and I've apparently put it on a different shelf. So I'll have that available next time, I promise. Where would I put some? See, honestly, it was right here beside me the last time I was sitting here. But I've done something with it because I wanted to protect it and put it away, because I just got it back in the mail from having Stephen sign it for me. Okay. Well, if you've watched this far, thank you for being such a masochist, sadist, whatever one it is that you like. And leave us a comment below. Let us know what you want to talk about. we'll come up with something. You watch. You give us a topic. Within 48 hours, we'll have a video. How's that for a challenge? And now watch. I'll have 100 topics. Yeah. Okay. Try to kill RJ. Do that. Give us as many topics as you want. We'll put out as many videos as we can. Thanks for coming by, guys. Appreciate you.